Welcome to the All Jammed Up podcast presented to you by Music Never Stopped. Today is Thursday, April 10th, and our guest today is Salem Ofa.
What are you doing, podcast for Lot?
Yeah.
Come be on a Lot podcast.
Yeah, hell yeah, All Jammed Up.
This dude's doing a podcast. If you want to be on some podcast, come give an interview.
Hell yeah.
All
Good morning, fools. Welcome to the All Jammed Up podcast. I'm your host, Clint Dotson, and we got a good one today. Not a musician, not someone selling stuff on lot. He's a tattoo artist and an author. His name is Salem Ofa. He wrote a book called The Gratefully Tattooed, where deadheads send in pictures of their Grateful Dead tattoos, and then he did some interviews with some tattoos all across the country who do Grateful Dead tattoos. Asheville's own Danny Reed is in that book. So it's a really cool book to me. I'm a big tattoo guy. I love the Grateful Dead too, obviously. So it's a good kind of clashing of worlds there for me. It may not be someone that you know, but I think it's a really cool interview. We talk about growing up in San Francisco and what got him into the Dead in the early 90s and touring with him for a couple years. And he's currently doing a mural on Haight-Ashbury. So big Deadhead. He knows his stuff. Real Cali guy too. So I think it's going to be a fun interview. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. So let's go. Salem.
Hey, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
Alrighty, everybody. We are here with Salem, tattoo artist, author, deadhead. Anything else? Did I miss anything?
Father,
Father,
boss,
boss,
and lover.
and lover. There we go. Man of many talents. So I wanna start just where are you from? Because on your Instagram bio, there's 4 different cities. So where are you from?
Yeah, so on my Instagram bio, those are cities that I frequently work and go guest spot
Okay.
to tattoo in, right?
Gotcha.
So Denver's on there because it's my second home. The other cities are on there like PDX because I go to Portland frequently and tattoo with my friend Craig Brown up there. And the NYC is to let people know that I'm out there too, you know. So if people stumble across my stuff, they're like, "Yo, I see NYC is there. What's up?" You know, and then I can, you know, kind of figure it out and corral them for the next time I'm out there.
Gotcha.
So usually, like, where you're from is kind of like where you grew up, right? Because that's a large sense of identity. So sometimes I'm like, all right, well, where'd you go to high school? You know what I mean? Because high school is like really where we think we find ourselves and identify with what, you know, we want to be and who we think we are, you know, at that stage in life. But I went to 4 different high schools. My parents separated at 14. I was living down south in Southern California. And my dad bounced to Toronto and got me a school visa to go to public school up there. And so I went to Toronto when I was 15, 16. And then went back to Southern California and went to high school, then alternative, and then moved to San Francisco. But so most of my childhood was in Southern California, and I got a little bit of that East Coast weather and kind of off-leash, all-ages show scene that I got to discover when I was a teenager up there. Yeah, so I got that cold front shit. I'm not completely West Coast, but I spent most of my life spent in California.
Okay. And so is that kind of where you were introduced to the Grateful Dead?
That's where I was introduced to the Grateful Dead. Yeah, man.
Was there like a specific person or somebody that kind of got you into it?
So at the time, when I was 18, I got my first apartment in San Francisco. I could barely afford the shit, man. So I like split a 1-bedroom through this roommate referral, found this dude. And I still just couldn't hold a fucking job, man. But one of my roommates that was like kicking down for couch space his name was Alan. I forgot how I met him, but he was an old hippie and he was on tour in the early 90s. And he took me up to A Street to find some paper or liquid or something to break down to Southern California to some friends because I was on a trip. And so I got to like, you know, get up to Haight Street to like check it out for my first time with this dude, hosting up there and trying to look for kids to break me off something to take to my friends down south. And so, I got to know Alan and I got to know Hate Street a little more. And it seemed like it was a chill kind of refuge and sanctuary for homeless kids, as long as you weren't fucking thieving shit from other kids
Mm.
and causing a ruckus. You could mind your manners up there with the street rules and find yourself a cozy place in the park and chill for a whole summer. So I ended up back in San Francisco. I did a big loop and ended up back in San Francisco when I was 18. And uh, no, I was 19. Excuse me. I was 18. I couldn't hold that apartment. I fucking bounced and I ended up on a Greyhound back like 4 months later, but with no apartment and not much money. But I knew Hate Street was a sanctuary, so I headed up there. At the time, I was like a little fucking raver tag banger. You know what tag banging is?
I don't.
That's when
Like,
people fight. That's when people fight and have major beef over graffiti.
okay, that's what I
You
was,
know,
when you said tag,
like
I was thinking graffiti.
yeah, tag banging. It's like when
Yeah.
Rough Riders get down like that. And most of
Okay.
LA it was like that, and the crew I joined was like that. And so I was on Hate Street buying my paper and going to these big ass techno parties in San Francisco and selling paper to kids, and I got to know a lot of the other hippies and kids that would spend time on Hate Street before tour would come back around and pick them up. And
And what year was this?
this was summer 93.
Okay.
So there was days that I had spare change up there. There was mornings, many mornings I got woken up by the park police on dirt bikes, waking me up in the park, giving me camping tickets. They used to give you camping tickets here, man. Like wake your ass up and write you a $75 fucking ticket for camping in the park, And
Jeez, that's a
they
lot of
used
money too.
they used to drive around and look for foggy windows in cars and rap on your car window in the middle of the night or whenever and give you a camping ticket for sleeping in your car. Like there was that,
Mm.
it's different now, but back then, yeah, back then, man. So I spent a whole summer like bonding with these fucking kids, man. And they were always like, yo, you got to come on tour. Come on fucking tour. You're going to love it. One thing led to another. I hit rock bottom on the street there, and I hopped in the back of a U-Haul van with like 6 other kids, and I knew they were heading up to the Eugene shows at Austin Stadium,
Mm.
which was all night camping, 3 fucking nights of camping, and my first dead parking lot experience. And we matched up there. I watched the whole town get taken over. And the lot was just insane for fucking 3 nights straight. It was so incredible. Um, at that stage, I hitchhiked to Portland and spent 4 months up there, and then caught a Greyhound back to SF and grabbed some friends and hopped on 93 winter tour, which started in, that was Anaheim. It went like Anaheim, San Diego, Oakland Coliseum. And that was my first real tour. And I was just dosing and skateboarding around the parking lot, being social, having fun, like just taking it all in. It was fucking amazing. And then after that, one thing led to another, and I ended up on 94 spring tour, but I hopped off in Richfield because it started in Arizona. It was weird. And then it fucking jumped the continent and ended up in Richfield, Ohio. Um, and that's where I picked it up. So I did 94 spring and then I did 94 summer. That shit was so fun, man. Like
Yeah, I
just,
bet.
it was just so, like I traded a car for an ounce of weed in Shoreline, and it was like the 79 AMC Concorde, maybe 79, maybe 76. Anyway, to start this car, it came with a pair of pliers, not just the key. And luckily the starter was under the hood, not under the car. And so you'd have to pop the hood, and the pliers came with a bunch of electrical tape on the top so you wouldn't electrocute yourself when the handles would touch the starter bolts on either side while somebody turned the key at the same time. That fucking car got us so many places, dude, for this ounce of pot. Like we drove all the way out east and gave 3 people rides to Virginia and shit. We had like 3 bootleg tapes and like a crazy thunderstorm to drive through in Kansas. It was so crazy, man. That car like lasted a long time too. But
For an ounce of weed.
dude, winging a prayer though, like that faith shit goes a long fucking way, man. Like a long way. But yeah, the shit you got to learn on tour about yourself, about others, about the music, about fucking just all the things you can't really learn in school, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't feel I could learn any of that at school. I you know, doing tour, being an entrepreneur and getting by and keeping up taught me things about myself that, you know, I still use and have faith in and confidence to this day, you know?
And before you went up to Eugene to like start the tour, did you know about the Grateful Dead? Did you like the Grateful Dead, or was it kind of just like, fuck it, let's do it?
Yeah, no, I was listening to them, but I wasn't deep diving. And so
Okay.
that homeless summer I spent on Haight Street hanging out with the kids, you know, they were really truly inviting me, you know. Um, and so you know, I met everyone on the lot up there. All the Haight Street kids that I spent that summer with were all on lot, you know. It was fucking amazing shit.
Hell yeah, man. That sounds that sounds awesome. So what from all that experience you had, you became this Deadhead guy, and then how did you like pivot using that Deadhead energy into tattooing?
Oh,
Just
that's a
started
good,
drawing.
yeah, no, that's a good question, man. After Jerry died, since I was 15, I always wanted a tattoo. It took me a minute to like get over that I'm not good enough bullshit, you know, that a lot of us
Hmm.
have and, you know, limit ourselves with. And after tour, I'm like, fuck it, dude, I'm fucking doing this shit. And I saved enough money to buy my first machine, power supply, and foot pedal to run it, and a few inks and a few tubes and needles,
Hmm.
and just went to town. And so after Jerry died, I kind of fell off, you know, as far as keeping up with shows or anything. You know, I went to the lot, couple lots when the other ones were playing, um, and I hopped back on during Further. Honestly, you know, I took a big hiatus. I was up in the Pacific Northwest for a little bit, studying my trade, and by the time I started going to the Further shows, um, it was like a high school fucking reunion, man.
Yeah.
I saw kids that I still knew from tour, like, what the fuck? You're still here? Like you're all grown up like me? And at that stage, man, like I felt I was in a darker place in my life too. And I was drinking. I've been drink free for like 15 years, almost 16 years. But you know,
Congratulations, man.
those are my thanks. Those are my drinking days too. And when the music came back to me, it was almost like in a healing place in my life when I was transitioning away from negative shit, um, and attracting more positive things into my life. And so when the live music came back to me, and a lot of the old friends came back around, um, it was just I don't know, it was just great fucking timing. And at that stage, they all wanted tattoos, and the head community became my favorite clientele. You know, like my
Hmm.
favorite people, the most diverse people I've ever tattooed. And so backing up to things I grew up on and got inspired by, you know, tattooing's all played the fuck out now, you know, like moms and grandmas got hand tattoos now, you know, but when I was young, there was still a rebellious spirit and nature by it.
Hmm.
It was connected to the metal scene. It was connected to punk rock and skateboarding for me, you know. Um, Within the tattoo world, I feel from my experience that the Grateful Dead is misunderstood and a little shit on in the tattoo industry, you know. To them, we're drug addicts fucking dancing all crazy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me to pick up that style not only set myself apart from that, but it brought back kind of that punk rock spirit in me to rep that shit, you
Yeah.
know? And so for me, uh, you know, a lot of that drives, you know, kind of how hard I push it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, was there like a tattoo artist before you that kind of you studied their art and was it Sailor Jerry, like somebody that you were looking at that you were like, I want to be like that. I want to make art like that.
No, I mean, I grew up inspired by graffiti art, you know? A
Okay.
lot of my shit, a lot of my stuff was pretty wacky. If I showed you my earlier 20 years ago tattooing, it would be more cartoony and more kind of dated. Um, but working in San Francisco has really kind of pushed me, to get better at my craft, to study more, to bring, a little more realism into my style when it comes to stuff I've done in the past and more graffiti kind of wacky, more dated, inspired stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, I have inspirations here and there, but
Kind of always want to
yeah,
do your own thing.
yeah. I mean, especially with this Grateful Dead stuff, it's amazing. I have
Hmm.
I have clients that bring me ideas I never would have thought of, inspired by, songs or albums or other ideas related, and once you get into that kind of stuff too, on a custom tailored level, I'm getting to do tattoos that have never been done before,
Yeah,
and and
that's pretty
so
cool.
it's fucking rad, man. And not to shit on the tattoo industry, it's what helped bring me up, but I see a lot of the same shit, dude. It's a lot of the same shit.
You're talking to a guy with traditional tattoos, so I mean,
Man,
all
like
my stuff's the
I
same.
just see it. Maybe it's my algorithms. I don't know, man, but I just see, if it ain't Japanese, it's traditional. If it ain't traditional, it's fucking anime. If it ain't anime, it's micro. It's like, there's just so many boxes. I know perception is everything, but yeah, I just see a lot of the same shit, man. I'm just glad that, like, not to poop on your tattoos, geometry collectors, but I'm just glad sacred geometry is starting to call a little bit, and like other stuff's coming in a little bit, because that was fucking, that was so big, man, and anybody can do it.
So going back to like clients coming to you with really cool ideas, I've always wanted to get a Grateful Dead tattoo from like somebody like Dan Santoro or somebody like you who's like a
Yeah,
known
man.
deadhead.
Yeah.
And I want it to be the lyrics from the greatest story ever told.
Oh, which lyrics though? Sorry.
Moses stood up a full 6'10", said
Yeah.
you can't close the door when the walls cave in. I would
Yeah.
love just somebody to make a tattoo from those lyrics.
How would you envision that?
You guys are the artists here, not me.
Right,
It's
but
just
but
always an
like how
idea I
but
have.
yeah, but you have to see it too, you know what I mean? Like
I've
uh
always,
it's tricky.
I've,
It's sometimes it's tricky to, translate every lyric, to capture, like, how do you translate 6'10", you know what I mean? I guess, like,
yeah.
you can put people in the foreground to make him look way, way bigger, you know what I mean? And like maybe walls crashing down with some kind of door,
I've always like got like a spooky, eerie kind of vibe from those lyrics in the song, and I
Yeah.
think like a tattoo like that could reflect that would be really cool.
Cool. Do you have the annotated lyric book?
I do not.
Oh, it's well worth ordering. Yeah, it's the Grateful Dead annotated lyric book, and it's got all the side notes and little facts and other kind of speculations on where certain lyrics derive, throughout the whole
Mhm.
book for every song in their catalog.
I've been reading this book. Have you heard of this one, the new Robert Hunter
Yeah,
one?
no, I have not seen that. That's
It's
amazing.
like his manuscript from when he was like 19, and it's just like
Yeah,
him and Jerry bullshit, and then it's kind of hard to read at times because he's like in a really deep thought, and then he's a 19-year-old kid, and he just
yeah.
goes into something that him and Jerry did that day. So it's at times kind of all over the place, but it's definitely interesting to kind of get some of their inspiration on some of the songs that
So
he's
you
writing.
you mentioned his age. Do you keep that in mind as you're reading and following?
Yeah, because it's like I said, he'll be in like a very thought-provoking, deep writing, and then he'll be like, "Oh, and then Jerry poked me while I was writing this, and now we're going to do this." And I'm like, "Okay, this is just a kid writing this, and that's why he's all over the place." And like
Yeah.
even in the prologue, John Mayer kind of John Mayer writes the prologue, and he's like, "This book can be difficult to read at times, but." So they do kind of forewarn it.
Sounds like some good old ADHD to me.
Yeah. But while we're on the topic of books,
Yeah.
that's kind of how I figured out about you. My
Oh,
buddy had the
cool.
book. I read
Yeah.
it. Thought it was
Tight.
really cool. Learned a
Great.
lot of new artists. But I want to hear kind of like what inspired you to write that book.
Well, have you heard of the event that I've done at my studio called Bolt Day? Have you heard of that?
I have, and I was gonna ask about that. So go ahead and lead with that.
Yeah. Okay. I'll lead with that. So, I had an old friend say, "Hey, it would be really cool to do like some kind of thing similar." And I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna fucking do that." So when Further played the Berkeley Greek, I passed out like 200 hand flyers. Um, it was really at the bottom of one of the stairs, the exits to the Berkeley Greek. It was funny too, because like at the beginning of the show, I got puddled, but I just did this and put it on my neck, and like nothing happened. I'm like, what the fuck? And so at set break, no, it was like almost encore. I had him give me a few more in my palm that I just licked up, and so when we were handing out flyers, it was on either side of the steps. I was having my assistant Brian at the time help me, and he had done it too. And so we were starting to get so lit, dude, just like peeking. And we just started saying, Bolt Day is coming. Bolt Day is coming. And just having so much fun and pissing ourselves, dude. And a bunch of cats showed up the next day. And the only thing on the flyer was like this size, shaded in, outlined, or filled in. And $20. And so a bunch of kids and some ladies from the East Coast showed up that got a flyer, that woke up in the morning like, oh, man, what's this? Hey, let's go do this, And kids trying to get some bolts before they headed down to Vegas for the next Further shows. And we tattooed for half the day. It was super cool. And that I was like, fuck, that shit worked super well. And we got to meet some new heads, and that was real fun. And so that
And
was
that
me. That was me and my other coworker who was not a head. It was just the two of us. And then the next year, I was inspired to draw a sheet of flash designs, which are the, stuff you pick off the wall when you go
yep.
into a tattoo shop. It's called flash, and just for the viewers. And I drew 13 bolts about this big each, with different themes in them, other things, and I still offered them at $20. Tons of people came. People were trying to like, oh, sorry. I lined it up to an event that they do once a year here in McLaren Park to celebrate Jerry Garcia's birthday. It's called Jerry Day, if you've heard of it. It's a great event, free show in this amphitheater, Jerry Garcia Amphitheater in South San Francisco. And so I made flyers, and I flyered all the cars that were parked there, and handed out flyers, and got a large group of people coming the next Monday, since the show was on Sunday, that were still in town. And that was about the time that the 50th anniversary shows were happening. And that was the same time that people were entering and doing art on envelopes for the contest to try to score tickets, right? So lots of people were sharing and posting these amazing envelopes on Facebook and some of the other dead groups. Um, and I was able to see not just other people's art and the variety of art submitted for the contest, but I was able to see specifically who were tattooers by their art. And at that stage, I reached out to them. I found those artists, reached out to them, met them in Chicago, and they were like diamonds in a rough, man. Like representing, doing a lot of Grateful Dead stuff, and doing the live music and going to the shows and all the things. And in Chicago, I had a pretty big suite that we all got to tattoo in. A few of us got to tattoo in when we met there for those shows. And that stage, I started throwing the invites to these artists to come do Bolt Day. And when I started a Instagram page called Grateful Dead Tattoos, which
Okay.
which showcases a lot of just kind of our crew of artists, the ones that are featured in the book, and um, for people to find where we're at. And so when I followed certain hashtags, I would also see other Grateful Dead tattoos. I would go to profiles and see, okay, what other stuff have they done? Because they'll look out and get a Dancing Bear, or look out and get a Big Bertha or something. But
Yeah.
let's see, and I would see substantial work. Lincoln Rust was one of those homies that we ended up bringing in and meeting and becoming good friends with. And he was putting a lot of that stuff out. I'm like, whoa, where the fuck did you come from, bro? Come on, let's fucking connect. And so it went and went, and each Bolt Day we would get together more and get together more. And after I think the ninth one, I said, shit, man, let's make a book. I want to make a book. And
Hmm.
everybody was on board. Um, and at that stage, I was visiting Mark McLeod's house, who's the blotter art historian here in San Francisco. He's like the
Okay.
blotter art historian, but he lives here in San Francisco. And
What's his name?
his name is Mark McLeod. You know about that guy?
Mm-mm.
Oh man, yeah, he's the blotter art historian of the world,
Okay.
pretty
Check him out.
much. Awesome dude. Yeah. And so I went over there with my friend Shannon, who's a glass blower, and and at that time, Mark McLeod was talking to Jay Blakesberg, the photographer, about a book they were kind of scheming together about Mark McLeod. Um, and I took it upon myself to kind of not pitch Jay, but tell him about my idea. And he was really inspired. He offered to let me know what I needed to do, and invited me to his house, where he sat Dizzy and I down. Dizzy was my assistant at the time, now tattooing for me at my studio. So we went down and talked to him at his house here, and he talked with us for like an hour straight. Really, really friendly guy, and told us all the ins and outs of what needs to be done. He had books made for him until he learned the ins and outs, and now he helps other friends and people make books. And so he offered his services, and I totally agreed and got him on board to be our project manager. That was awesome, and he helps a lot. And so we hired a book designer, and within a little over a year, the book was about 80% complete. Our original book designer died in a fatal plane crash in a private plane, which kind of set the project back a little bit. The original designer that wasn't available ended up on board, and picked up where she left off. Well, actually, we couldn't. We had to start from scratch with design. One thing after another, uh, and more money to stack for the project. 2 years later, we finally grouped our poop and got everything together and sent it off for print, and it arrived some months ago. But really happy to do it and like document, not just our subculture sharing in our tattoo world, and what we do and what we're up to, but um, also showing the Grateful Dead subculture to the tattoo
Yeah.
world, right?
That's what I was gonna say. Those are like
Yeah.
two of the subcultures I think I would consider myself most involved in,
Yeah.
and the clash between them was really cool for somebody like me to see. So
Yeah.
we
Totally.
appreciate you. It's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
So the Bolt Day, that was in Charlotte last year, right?
It was, yeah. So I did it. I did it for 10 years at my shop, man. And all these cats and have been coming out to do Bolt Day from these other places around the country. I'm like, fuck, let's go to your shop. You can host it. Let's do it. So we hosted our 11th Bolt Day in Charlotte at Cosmic Tattoos, owned by Pat and Emily. And it was fun, man. And like weren't any big shows to kind of like kind of base the dates around it, but we figured during the days between would be great. And it was a great turnout. People drove from
Hmm.
a couple hours, a few hours away. And we all got to chill together and catch up in person and go to a swimming hole. It was really fun. So this next Bolt Day is going to be in Denver. My friend Billy's
That,
where my friend Billy owns a shop on South Broadway next to Voodoo Donuts called Ritual Tattoo. That's where I'm guest spotting in Denver while I'm there every time. And Billy has cordially invited me to take over his shop by just giving me his shop for the Sunday that we're going to have it, which
hell
is
yeah.
awesome. So everyone goes for the day and we take over. And it's in a great neighborhood, and it's gonna, I think, host to like I think there's 8 stations in there, so I think about 8 of us, maybe 9 of us, will show up, and just have a good time. Denver and Colorado is like deadhead haven besides New York State.
Yeah. Wouldn't you consider San Francisco to be one too?
I mean, dude. Historically, sure, but who can afford this fucking place now, bro? Come
Okay, that's a
on,
good point.
dude. Come on, dude.
That's a good point.
Maybe 20
Hey,
years ago.
I don't go over there for that reason, so.
No, it's like, who can afford this place? Like, there was a mass exodus around like 2010, and everyone moved to the East Bay where shit was still affordable, and then and then everyone bounced.
Mm,
Like, why? So like Denver around, no, around 15 years ago, 20 years ago, Denver became like the new Bay Area. Like they're
okay.
like that's where all the hat pin people migrated. All the hat pins went there,
Happen,
and
yeah.
yeah, and all the Grateful Dead bars, man. Like nowhere else are there Grateful Dead bars like that, than they had in Denver at one time in peak.
Asheville is pretty awesome, man. We get
It
dead bands like 3, 4 nights a week.
That's amazing, and that's one
Yeah.
place I still haven't been. And I have a friend
Mm.
that has an Airbnb that he could book out for me, and I really need to visit Danny.
Yeah,
And
you do.
I know I need to come tattoo at his shop. Yeah,
Need to do a Bolt Day here.
yeah, dude, that's a pretty rad idea. It might be a minute because we just did it in Charlotte, and that's not too far off the
Yeah.
board.
Hmm.
But yeah, eventually that would be really sick. But we got to get Danny to come to a Bolt Day first.
Yeah. He seems like a busy guy. He seems like he's always booked out.
Well, yeah, man, and yeah, when you're a boss too,
There's a reason to. Yeah, it's
yeah,
true.
when you're a boss, there's just a lot. There's a lot to deal with.
So going back to the Dead's music, you saw them kind of at the tail end with Jerry still, but do you
Yeah,
have a favorite era of the Dead
I
looking
mean that
back?
I'm into. Right now. I'm into the early '80s.
Okay.
But like I tend to. I don't know if you've tried this, but I tend to look up uh day day of show. Like full show April 2nd.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and look into that, and then try to like find something from the '80s, or if
Okay.
there's not, maybe the early '70s.
Hmm.
But yeah, dude, I like the Brent shit. I have different phases where I'm into more, more more decades, or even like later or earlier halves of decades.
Yeah.
Um uh but I just like I listen to live shows.
Hmm. Same. Yeah. That you got to. You got to.
Yeah, have you seen that Time Machine?
I haven't.
I gotta plug this thing, man. This person, and God, I cannot freaking remember who's slinging them, but this person's been making these time machines, and it draws from the internet. Excuse me, and it uses the archives. It's got 3 knobs on it. It's a small device like this. You just plug into your stereo, you plug into your RCA jacks, and you do year, date, and year, date, and time. Wait,
Month, day,
there's 2
year?
knives. Yeah, sorry, month, day, and year. Thank you.
Okay.
You do
Yep,
month,
we
day,
got
and
there.
year, and it'll tell you if it can pull it or not. And if not, you'll click it until it does, because it'll read the show title and venue, but you can
Is it a
listen.
website or an actual thing?
It's an actual device that draws from the
Okay.
internet. So you have to have Wi-Fi to use it, but you plug it into your receiver, and you can run it
Got
through
it.
your stereo.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's called
I've
the
not
Time
heard of that.
Machine. It's so
The
cool,
Time
dude.
Machine. Write
Yeah.
that down. So are you a Donna fan or not Donna fan?
I don't know, man. I don't want to say I'm not a Donna fan. She had her part, and the Grateful Dead's gone through so many evolutions, and every single piece that's come and gone has been super important for that evolution. And so I appreciate her years. Um, I really enjoy the memes and the the it's such a vast community. You're gonna have alternative views and different
Yeah.
tastes. You know what I mean? And so, like, I enjoy when people go the extra length to make memes or T-shirts, or like those "Shut Up
Let
Donna"
Donna
shirts.
sing.
Those "Shut Up
Yeah, or
Donna"
those
shirts that
ones.
were going around, and it was just a silhouette of her with a spotlight and super simple black and white. I'm like, that shit I enjoy because that's witty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I don't hate, but I maybe not listen to that era as much, I guess.
I appreciate the answer though that you said all of it was kind of needed for the whole evolution. I think that's a good
Yeah,
answer.
man. Yeah, 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 yeah. There's no mistakes in life. There's just different choices that lead to other roads with different lessons and growth, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's common
So
sense, but the rest is like, fucking chance and what you're up for learning about yourself.
so I want to also touch on something that we briefly talked about on Instagram, but you're doing a mural on Haight Ashbury. Is that kind of
Yes.
like a full circle thing for you? Like what that's got to mean a lot to you.
Oh, dude, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell us like what the mural is and how you got that gig and just
Well,
all
I
about it?
there was a psychedelic gallery that opened up on Haight and Masonic kitty corner to Love on Haight, the tie-dye store, and I got hired to paint the whole outside of that. So that was around when COVID was kind of lightening up its grip on San Francisco, which had the grippiest of grips. and and I spent a whole summer up there with my kids on the weekend because that was the only time I had on a big piece of AstroTurf and chairs and just painted up there. So the kids got to experience that environment too. And looking back, yeah, it's a huge reflection. And so my kids too get to like experience
Mm,
that street up here, and
yeah.
experience like, getting even a little bit of street smarts from that environment, so I can
Yeah.
point things out to them and, and they can kind of, build confidence, right? And their independence. But so I got hired to do that a few summers ago. Um, and when my book released, I had a bunch of Kickstarter fulfillments of all the friends and fam that kicked in. Thanks again, everybody, to the project to kind of get the ball rolling. It made me a good
Hmm.
chunk to go hire Jay Blakesberg and to print all the t-shirts and other reward stuff, that the different Kickstarter tiers were going to receive. And so when the books dropped, fuck man, I was still full tattoo schedule. And I hired a young woman named Pi that was helping out at the psychedelic gallery off and on to help me fulfill and mail out all these books to everyone, including the pre-orders. Consequently, Pi's mom owns the Love of Ganesh, which is where I'm painting now up on Upper Haight Street.
Okay.
And while we're working together to achieve these mailing of the book goals, she had mentioned that her mom really liked what I did on the gallery, and she helped connect us where we sat down and got to negotiate and figure out how to repaint the front of her store. And so,
Mm,
so I've been plugging away at that for the last month or so. Um, I get up super early, like 6 a.m., and I get there at 7 and have maybe like 3.5 hours to kind of get at it before they
Yeah.
open. Um, and that's real nice to be up there too. But yeah, it's cool, man. So I got 2 murals running on Haight Street, and I still like say what's up to all the Haight Street kids, because there's a lot of transients. There's people that you swear are permanent, man. I'm like, yo, like kids. The thing about the kids back in the day on the Haight tour, like I mentioned, would always come back around and pick them up. Right, tour would always
Hmm.
come back, Shoreline or something would come back, and then boom, you're hot back in the village. Some kids would get stuck on the street because they were on drugs. And so they would sit there or take advantage of the West Coast weather while spring tour,
Yeah.
happened, shit like that. That's why, like, that first tour I did was winter tour. And of course it was West Coast and temperate. But you could do it. You could sell weed on Haight Street and live in hotel rooms and chill and be in the city and just kind of wait for shows to come back around, to pick you up. And now, yeah, some of those kids, I don't know if it's drugs or, you just get into a pattern sometimes when you're in survival mode, right? And
Yeah.
that pattern can kind of become a bubble, and or a loop, right? And so some kids are super transient. Shit, man, there's kids that come up for like a month and just be homeless on the street. They have a bank account.
Yeah.
They're like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go do this shit. Go find a little bush fort, and or make a little bush fort or cuddy little camp spot in Golden Gate Park. And since there's no camping tickets anymore, like, you know, uh,
Yeah.
who's to say you can't live that Jack Kerouac life for a second? You know what I'm saying? Like, and people do. Like, it's a whole novelty of like coming to San Francisco and like doing Haight Street and being in the psychedelic capital of the world, and being able to survive and fucking sleep in a tent and do it. That's adventurous, man. That's like, I think that's what it's about, with Haight Street and the just the psychedelic history and you know, the whole hippie movement and the whole human being that kicked it off. It's like always been a sanctuary, whether tour comes by and picks you up anymore or not. It's always been a sanctuary for that, kind of psychedelic culture that's connected to, not just the Grateful Dead, but that, whole scene, man, San Francisco,
Yeah.
shit went down back in the day, dude. That shit resonates eternally.
Do you think that like I think the Grateful Dead community and like the magic of it is still so alive. Does it still feel like that way at Haight Ashbury too? Like obviously that's a place I've never been to now or
I
back in
mean,
the day, but
not as much, but like I said, I was back then when there were shows and Jerry was still kicking and shit was just a different scene up there.
yeah.
Now there's still kids holding it down and stuff, but it ain't the same, but you see more in the summer. You see
Yeah.
way more where it's like more temperate, or kids have the
Hmm.
summer off or they're out of school and they're like, hell yeah, let's get some adventure in. And so you'll see more kids come around when the weather gets a little warmer too. Um, but yeah, it's definitely changed. Definitely changed. I mean, even without tour, did you do any tour shows when Dead and Co were touring still? Did you do any of that?
I've been to a couple, yeah. I
Okay,
didn't like
so
follow them for real, but I've been to a
right.
few, yeah.
So you saw how all the vending was set up and
Hmm.
everything and how Shakedown, like
Yep.
there wasn't any reservations for that. You had to get there early. You had to get there when the lot opened and it's first come, first serve and wherever you can park and get set up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there was no organization and stuff. And I'm glad, very thankful that we have a Shakedown in Vegas. I don't think without the organization it would happen.
Hmm.
Right. Because there's insurance laws, all this crazy red tape you got to jump through.
But something
Um,
doesn't feel right about it being indoors, huh?
Well, something doesn't feel right about not being a tour anymore. There's no
Hmm.
more gypsy kind of vibes and, keeping up with the village and seeing them play in different cities.
Different
Um,
crowds every night,
yeah,
yeah.
it's different crowds, dude. And ticket prices were way cheaper, when they were hitting other stadiums and venues compared to the Sphere. Right. So it's I feel it's drawing a whole different crowd too. You know, it's
Mhm.
like going for the experience, not going for the music.
Yeah, I can go in for the Instagram pictures.
Well, it's the experience. It's the sphere. Trip out. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yo, when I used to be on tour, I sold mushrooms. I had a fanny pack filled with eights, and I had that shit tucked underneath my trousers, and I would dip in between cars and just slang bags, dude. And people like that's where people would come to do drugs, and so they would find the drugs there, and then that was the thing, you do the drugs, you know.
How much was an
um
eighth of mushrooms back then?
uh East Coast, $30.
Dude, it's probably the same now.
There's so many mushrooms out there though.
Yeah.
So it's drawing a different crowd of people that can afford those tickets too, those ticket prices. Mind you, there's still vendors that are holding it down, paying the fees, holding it down, doing the gypsy lifestyle, you know, jumping hotel rooms, sleeping out of cars, doing it and being there, you know. But God bless all of them, because they're still like holding on to that, like, you know,
Real true
part of the,
experience.
well, it's the part of the culture. It's like part of it,
Yeah.
you know. It's like keeping up with the village, like I was saying, and like surviving and getting it done. And getting into the show and being an entrepreneur about it, right? Like that is just it's just so cool, and it's so magical at times. And it's just an attractive, adventurous, fun place, you know, to be. Um, not just the music, you know,
Yeah.
but yeah, all of that. I don't know, man. Like, I think John Mayer fans need psychedelics for sure. I've been saying that for like the last 5 years. I think that was a great meld when I saw the Cougars start to come to shows.
My
You
mom's a
know,
big
no.
John Mayer fan. I don't think I can dose her.
Yo, who's John Mayer? Who are these guys John's playing with? Like, fuck, dude, it was so cool. And I'm like, yes, dude, these Mayer fans are like, what the fuck is happening now? This is amazing. And they're discovering, you know, not just the scene, but the history too, you know, and it
Hmm.
fucking goes deep. It's so cool. But you know, there are a lot of first timers that don't give a shit, that never even heard of fucking Stanley Owsley, you know? But but yeah, it lacks that, like, I don't know. I miss tour, man. I wish they would just change their freaking name so they can legally call a tour again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like Mayer owns 51% of Dead and Co, right? Like, so why would he not just, you know, keep doing residencies? I don't think Bobby wants to tour. I don't know. Um, but why wouldn't he just keep the residencies going? And, you know, with, you know, legal jargon, technically they can't do a tour anymore. So, well, I mean, they do surprise us. I'll give them that. But
Yeah. Do you have a favorite iteration of the Dead post Jerry? Like you said,
further,
further. Like further is your
further,
favorite
all
easily.
all day, dude. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
You saw them quite a bit.
I got to, yeah. They were together for about 5. I got to see them for about 4.
Okay.
I would go to their New Year's runs here in San Francisco at Bill Graham. 3-night runs. It was so cool. Oh my God. And Bill Walton would do Father Time every year, just like he did back in the day, you know?
Yeah.
It was fucking magical, dude. It was so cool. I think that was the best, because Phil was bumping, and Bobby was awesome, and Russo just fucking kept them up. You know, the
Yeah.
tempo was great. And I love John Kay, man. A lot of people hated on
Hmm.
that dude. I think people, this is just my perspective, people, but I think people that he sounds a lot like Jerry, right? Like, I took my 10-year-old to go see Melvin last month at the Warfield here in SF, and he's like, hey, who is that? He kind of sounds like Jerry. I'm like, yeah, he kind of does. And some people
I'm
don't
seeing
like
them on my
that.
birthday.
Some
I'm
people
seeing
don't
him on
like
my
that.
birthday a week from today. I'm like super
Yeah,
stoked. Melvin is coming into
I like
Asheville.
him. I've always been a fan of John Kay. Um, but I think they played so well, man. I really enjoyed Further. I really did. I really did.
Do you have? You're obviously you know about the Grateful Dead historian, all that good stuff. Any current jam bands that you are really enjoying too?
Ooh,
Eggy, Dogs in a Pile, Daniel Donato. Any of these
no.
guys do it for you?
Mm, oh, no.
Is
Uh-uh.
that because you don't like them, or you just haven't really listened to them?
I haven't really listened to them. My girl loves Daniel Donato,
Yep,
right?
they're good.
L- yeah, loves him.
Dogs in a
Uh,
Pile, you gotta check them out. They're
yeah,
awesome.
I haven't seen them yet. I'm into that. There's more Grateful Dead cover bands than any other cover bands, right? And the
I
Grateful
definitely believe that.
and the Grateful Dead's a cover band. Isn't
Yeah.
that cool?
I like to comment that on Instagram sometimes to get people really riled up.
Oh, that shit's funny, man. Yeah, you got to stir that pot, bro. Uh, yeah, like I really like Jerry's Middle Finger as far as cover bands
Mhm.
go. Dark Star's like the best Grateful Dead cover band. And you notice like you go to a Dark Star show and more young people are discovering Dark Star, I think, at least from the few shows I've been to the last few years. But a lot of the crowd are older heads. And
Mhm.
I think that they're older heads like of the 80s Dead generation, the pre-touch and late 80s because Dark Star has that tempo. They have the tempo that the Dead had from the 80s. They're on it, man. And so uh from the inside looking out, I think they're the best Dead cover band.
I'm
They're
going to
great.
their festival next month, and I'm really, really excited for it.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, you won't be disappointed. That's cool. I wonder if they'll play a show or not. You know how they do it, right? Those guys are historians. They'll study the show that they replicate,
Yeah,
and get in the little wingdings and stuff in there, that they do.
I've
Even
never
if
seen them live, but
okay, so
I've watched a
they'll
lot of their shows.
sometimes they'll make up their own set list, which mind you can be good at times, but if it's going to be your first time seeing them, I hope they replicate a show. If they have true two drummers that you'll
Mhm.
kind of know. If Homegirl's singing uh in the band, then it's a Donner year, right? But like sometimes she's come out to play harmonica for a Pig year, even though
Mm,
it was like the crossover uh when Vince was, yeah, Donna's husband was Vince, right Keith. when
Keith,
keith
yeah.
when Keith was first getting introduced, Pigpen was still in the band and Pigpen was just playing harmonica and doing his songs, and Keith was on keys at that stage. So like I saw a Dark Star show where she came out and played Pig's harmonica, but then Baraka on keys for Dark Star, he was playing Keith's part, right? So if
Okay.
they have two drummers, you can round down maybe what year it is. If she's singing, then you can round down kind of like the era. But they'll tell you at the end of the show, and usually they'll have a couple extra songs, that aren't part of the show that they might add if they have
Cool.
time to the encore or something. But I'm
Yeah, I'm
excited for
stoked for
you.
that. I'm so stoked for that.
Cool.
And I'm getting to see Mo for the first time, so that's gonna be a good
Okay.
weekend. I'm excited for that.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. What other jam bands are you into?
Um, Dogs in a Pile, Daniel Donato, and Eggy. I'm like really into those three guys. I'm really into a lot of like Jamgrass, Billy Strings, Mountain Grass Unit,
Right.
Sam Bush. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so a little bit of everything.
I've seen Billy Strings a good handful of times. My good friends are really into Billy Strings,
Yeah,
and I really enjoyed all his live shows that I've seen. They're really effing fun. And I got to take both my kids, my 15-year-old, my 10-year-old. My
Oh
10-year-old's
yeah.
a self-taught guitar player, and I got to take them, and they don't really like country or twang, and I'm like, don't sweat it, and so I took them,
He's
and it was
different.
at the yeah, exactly. I took them to see the Billy Show at the Frost Amphitheater here at Stanford
Mhm.
campus, and it's all outdoor grass, just really beautiful spot, great weather, and well into maybe the fourth song, it's not country anymore,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, hey, you hear that? You think that's country? And they're like, no. And
He's
then,
gotten me. He's
dude,
gotten me into a lot of traditional bluegrass too, like Doc Watson,
cool.
Larry Sparks, John
Okay,
Hartford.
yeah, dude. And
Yeah.
so is my girl. Like my mom was into country. I didn't really grow up with too much twang. The country my mom was into was new country. It was definitely nothing
Yeah.
traditional or fucking bluegrass, and that was new country from the 80s, Um and so my girl's really into bluegrass and more twang. So she's turned me on
Yeah.
to some things. I got to go see The Devil Makes Three the other week. You heard of them, right? Devil Makes
Mm-mm.
Three. Ah, okay. You should
Mm-mm.
write that down, jot that down, put it on your radar there. They're great.
Yeah, I'll have to
Yeah,
check
three
those guys
piece.
out.
Yeah, they're great.
Well, we're getting close to our time here, but I want to ask two more questions. We were messaging the other day, trying to set this up, and you said, "After I get out of the jungle, where have you been? What have you been doing?"
Oh, you know what, man? I had to postpone that trip to July. So I've been
Ah,
going I've been going to the Amazon since 2005.
okay.
I
Tell
read
us
a
about that.
I read a book called DMT, the Spirit Molecule. You heard of that?
I've heard of DMT, but not the book.
Okay, it's called DMT, the Spirit Molecule. It's written by uh oh my God. Oh, come on. Strassman? He's a doctor that had um some inspiration to delve into the effects of this chemical and the study of it on the human brain and body. But he went through it legally. He's a licensed doctor, and he went through it legally. He goes into all the red tape, what led him um, to to performing this particular study. Um, and yeah, he went through all the red tape and all the hurdles, and then halfway through the book, he's finally gone through all the screening of volunteers and everything else, and figured out the room that the hospitals offered, and figured out how to have it made to even use, and he starts taking notes, um, and that led me to the Amazon to drink ayahuasca in the jungle. And
Mm.
so I hopped a plane with four other friends to go try that out in 2005, and started going back every year on my own and with other friends since. Some of those trips have been tattoo trips to do conventions in Lima, and to go up to Cusco to tattoo and hang out in the ruins up there, which is where you go to fly in and acclimate for a couple days before you make the trek to Machu Picchu, either by foot and donkey or by train and bus. Um,
Hell
and
yeah.
so I'd spend time there hanging out with the tattoo artists in town. And yeah, that was just fun. So fun, man. It's so beautiful up there. And then I would spend time diving deep into my own psyche in the jungle. And so I didn't go, I hadn't been there in 10 years. I've only done it twice in the US. I always suggest going to the source, which is the Amazon, which is where the lineage is, which is better, clear
For ayahuasca or
facilitation.
DMT?
Yeah, ayahuasca.
Okay.
So ayahuasca has DMT in it, right?
Oh, it
So
does. I did not know that.
yeah, so it's got a very low dose, but it's also got kind of a component to it that it's mixed and cooked with as a catalyst. It's called chacruna. Each plant
Mm.
has its own intelligence and own spirit. And together they create this concoction that has been used for thousands of years to, heal people, and to kind of delve into your own subconscious uh, and heal and it's also used in a lot of parts of the jungle to bring children into adolescence and adulthood when they're going through puberty. Um, and so I went down there to try to get my feet wet. And at one stage I went there since, geez, I went there a while. I went there once a year, for a month at a time, not in the jungle specifically, a week in the jungle, a week and a half. And then I took a 10-year break. And then I went back last year, and now I'm going to try to, you know, frequent more. But
Okay.
it's an amazing experience. And yeah, you have any other questions about it?
I think we can, if I do, I think we'll go a little too long. But
Sure, sure.
yeah, that's something I think I would like to do one day to do.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've
Don't,
done plenty of psychedelics like recreationally, and I think
right.
doing
So
something
go,
guided would be.
ladies and gentlemen, go to Peru. Do not do it domestically. Yeah, if you're going to do it domestically, make sure that the medicine comes from good lineage. It's delivered well with love, and make sure your facilitators are well experienced with their own past ceremonies and uh, lineage history. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I've had a
because
buddy that did it.
you could end up on a dark side, man. Without the right facilitation, guidance,
Hmm.
support, you can end up, not letting go what you're meant to.
Yeah, cool. Well, like I said, we are coming up on our time. I'd love for you to come to Asheville, me to get out there and do this in person because this has been a really fun
All
conversation.
right, so you'll get a tattoo for me out there.
If you come out here, I'll get tattooed by 100%.
Okay, deal.
Okay, sounds good. But you've done countless numbers of Grateful Dead tattoos. Do you have one single tattoo that is your favorite to this day that you've done?
Uh, Probably on my friend Mouse. We did a Star Wars Merry Prankster sleeve,
Okay.
um, where we did the Millennium Falcon and colored it like the Further Bus, and we did we did Owsley Wan Kenobi, where we put Owsley's face on Obi-Wan and gave him an Owsley buckle and a psychedelic lightsaber that he's yielding. And we did a Yoda with Albert Hoffman's face. Super cool, dude. And we did a rebel sign with a Steely, so a Steal Your Rebel. And then we did Neil Cassidy for Han Solo, and um uh we did dancing
Bertha
bears
for
that were
Leia.
we did dancing bears that were Ewoks. That was cool, and a little Death Star in there. And then we did uh Ken Kesey as Chewbacca.
You need to send that to me on Instagram so I can like put
Dude,
it in
it's
right
you
here
know
as you're
what?
talking about it.
It's on my Instagram. You got to dig through. There's video of it, but I never like got good shots of it, and like I really need to because that friend's still lurking around the bay, I think. But that was that's one of my favorites. Yeah, for sure. Um, and then this other chess piece I did on my friend John Dahl. He was a big supporter for the original Kickstarter to get the book and help it get going. Thanks, John. He did he did a Lost Sailor, Franklin's Tower, Ship of Fools chess piece
Nice.
across his whole chest, which is in the book too. That actually made it in the book, and it's on my Instagram. But so there's a lost sailor in a rescue boat. There's a crashed ship behind them. There's a couple dancing bears in the boat, and then there's a big lighthouse, to represent Franklin's Tower with the bolt on it, and crashing waves and stuff like that, and a distant thunderstorm coming in. It's fucking really cool, man. It took a while, but he had the patience and the strength, yeah, to do it. But
Well, hey man, this has been a lot of fun and I really appreciate you coming on and doing it with me. So I
yeah,
look
hell yeah,
forward
thanks
to
for the invite.
hopefully syncing up at some point.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Let me know if you're gonna come out west, man. You come get a tattoo at my Eye of the Tiger shop.
Will do.
Hell yeah.
You just got jammed.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to Chloe's Corner.
Chloe's Corner birthday episode 4. Clint Dodson, he doesn't know how old he is. He's 29 years old.
Today, April 10th.
Today, April 10th, best day of the year. Best day of the year!
So if you want to get me a birthday present, just go to my Instagram, go to the links in my bio, and buy a ticket for the All Jammed Up Festival.
To celebrate, we are having a Naughty Dirty Vodka Mule by Devil's Foot, friend of the devil.
Great. Full Dead reference there. I had to burp, alright? I burp a lot on here. People know that by now.
Yeah, you haven't even had one yet.
Oh, I haven't.
We have a Billy episode of Chloe's Corner. Literally the only topic is Billy strings because, duh, king. The only non-Billy related topic I will say first thing, my garden is growing mint, but I did not plant mint. So I don't know if that's a problem or a good thing, but summer's coming, so I can throw one in here.
Ooh.
Throw one in my little vodka. Ooh, a little mojito. Ooh. So maybe it's a blessing, but it's all over the garden. So I don't know if mint is maybe a weed.
Yeah, I think we just have weeds in our backyard. It's not even
Our
grass.
backyard is just weeds.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to cutting all that.
We gotta figure it out. I don't know. There's daffodils and dandelions.
I
don't
think
know
our
what they are.
landlord said we could. He knows someone that'll do it for pretty cheap. We could just give it.
Yeah, but
Pay.
our
Yeah,
yard
it's
is
so
like
small.
50 square feet,
Yeah,
dude.
You're not the one that's to mow the grass, though.
I could be.
Okay. Let's hold her to that, folks.
So for the first topic of our Billy episode, quickly, I think he may have played my favorite show on earth, St. Augustine Night 2. I have the set list pulled up.
Is that the one that got cut short for the fight, though?
I do think
Allegedly?
it got cut 30 minutes short, but he played a fucking banger.
Let's hear it.
So, start out 7 weeks in county in the clear. Great start. Get me to my seat. I will run to my seat because we're not pit people anymore. We've decided.
St. Augustine, I would do pit.
St. Augustine, I could do pit. Everywhere else, I can't be a pit person. He played All Fall Down. He played Hellbender, Dust in a Baggie, Highway Hypnosis. Beautiful. Ended with Highway Hypnosis for the first set.
Yeah. That was all the first set?
That was all in the first set.
That All Fall Down was crazy.
Oh, I didn't. Did I mention that
You
one?
did
I
say
did.
it,
I
yeah.
did. And then we jump into the second set. Slow Train, Away from the Mire, Home. Everything's the same. Watch It Fall, Hide and Seek, Ride Me High, Hide and Seek. Dude,
that's a crazy one.
You would have spazzed in this second set. I feel like you wouldn't have been anywhere around me. You would have been all over the place.
I mean, the All Fall Down, I'm like obsessed with that song right now. So that would have just tipped me over there. And then Hide and Seek and Ride Me High back into Hide and Seek.
Hide and Seek, Ride Me High, Hide and Seek, and then Encore Red Daisy. Clint has a tendency to do this thing where when he gets super excited at shows, he just runs. He just down the stairs, across the hall. I will see him across the venue. He disappears. He sprints. He doesn't really give a warning either. He just whoo and goes.
Did they play a Leadfoot?
There was no lead foot in
that's
this.
good.
No, yeah. Don't you worry. No lead foot in this. But that is a crazy show. I haven't listened to it. Did we listen to it on Nugs? I don't think I have yet.
We listened to some of the first set because I wanted to hear that All Fall Down, and then we listened to the rest of the set after that.
Yeah. I'll listen to that one on Nugs. I'll give it a true second review. But that fucking set list, fire, blew me away. I'm jealous. I don't want to miss a St. Augustine.
Yeah, he
run
puts
anymore.
on there. Yeah.
We always make excuses. There's no excuse. We need to go next time.
Well, we did the Tipper thing this year, so.
We are doing Tipper and Friends. We did maybe kind of decide something semi-controversial. This is all hearsay. Halloween is over actual Halloween weekend. If Billy were to do Halloween in Nashville, we are giving up Halloween that year.
Yeah.
Because Billy's Asheville Halloween show was like...
It's like lore. It's like Billy lore.
Infamous. Is that the right? Yeah, that is like...
I think Infamous is like famous for the wrong reasons. That's just like legendary.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was just like it will go down in infamy.
That means like
It's kind of like infirmary, so maybe it is bad.
Yeah, they said this day will go down in infamy. They were talking about Pearl Harbor in that day. Yeah.
Well, we remember it.
In infamy, it's infamous, like the antithesis of being famous.
Well, infamous string dusters.
I don't know why they named that. When I get them on, I'll have to ask them.
Okay.
We'll have to ask Travis Book about that one.
Travis Book, it's in my mind. Why are you guys infamous?
I think it sounds better than the famous string dusters.
The famous, I can't think of a word.
There's a nice...
Just a sigh of nothingness. Okay, and then my other topic, these are my only topics, short episode. New Billy Strings live album release.
Yep.
I have only listened to half. I listened to it today, which is Tuesday, on my way home from work. Next Chloe's Corner, I will give you the second half. That's just going to be cut into two. I took notes. First note, Tom Dooley. Who are the Dooleys?
Should we look it up?
Is it the same Dooley that has a farm?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
Are the Dooleys related? I did look him up. He stabbed his cheating girlfriend.
Tom Dooley is a traditional North Carolina folk song based on the 1866 murder of a woman named Laura Foster in Wilkes County, North Carolina, by, I'm guessing it would be Tom Dooley. By Tom Dula, whose name in the local dialect was pronounced Dooley. One of the more famous murder ballads, a popular hit version recorded in 1958 by the Kingston Trio, reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100.
And is this the same Dooley family that down on Dooley's farm?
That I don't know.
When a bit man in a minute. Was that? Yeah, that's that one. That's
Yeah,
that one.
is that Molly Tuttle?
Is that who
that is?
moonshine? I think so. Molly Tuttle. I think so. Did Billy be on that? Did Billy be on that thing?
I don't know.
On that song?
Dooley's Farm.
So for the people that know the lore, I want to know if Tom Dooley
It does feature Billy Strings in
is
that
the
one.
murderer. If this is the Dooley we're all
I
singing
think
about.
so, because the lyrics are, old Dooley was raised Carolina.
Oh, he sure was.
So yeah, we just figured because old Dooley's and the Blue Ridge Mountain with the whispering pines. They used to grow tobacco, then they made moonshine. Down on Dooley's farm.
So are we celebrating Mr. Dooley?
I think it's just like one of those things.
I like murder ballads by women.
Like, what other ones are you talking about?
There's one with like a woman and she's singing and her husband cheats with a woman.
Is it Rihanna? He knows. Oh no, you
He
really had me
knows I'm
going.
unfaithful. That's the other way around.
Yeah, I was thinking of the other one. You really had me going. Now it's time to go.
No, it's a woman. Rihanna is a woman, but it's
Yeah.
a different woman, and she kills her husband because he cheats. I like female murder ballads. Second note on my list of notes from this first half: "Walk On Boy," great version. That's all I have.
Mm-hmm.
Great version. Beautiful guitar in that. I was excited about this one. "Cold Cold World." I didn't know it before. I won't claim to, by Blaze Foley, but I got excited because I finally know one of his covers artists. I know Blaze Foley,
Yeah.
2 of his songs, but I have heard of him. I feel like every single time I hear a cover, I am dumb to the person that originally wrote it. And this time he was like, "I know a thing by Blaze Foley." I was like, I know his songs.
Isn't that funny how it works though? Like, I didn't know Doc Watson or any of these guys until I started deep diving into Billy Strings, and now I listen to like all those guys. It's funny how that works, huh?
Blaze Foley does that Clay Pigeons one. "I'm going down to the Greyhound station."
I don't know if I know that one.
I play it. You would know if I show you. My favorite one on the album is "Groundhog." I think I only really like it because it mentions animals. And it makes it very light. I was like trying to think in the car of why I liked it so much. I was like, I think I just like that he's singing about animals.
What's that album called again?
Live at the Legion.
Oh yeah. That was also probably crazy. Just at an American Legion.
So my
Billy
next
Strings and
thing,
Brian
my
Sutton
next
show
thing
up.
was intimate setting. Open up them pearly gates. That could be a pathway to the other world for me. Just a very intimately set. Open up them pearly gates. I feel like that would
I
usher
feel like
me
he should have
into
opened with that one.
a new life.
I mean, I just feel like that song always should be an opener or closer, though.
I
Okay,
think
so
closer.
the ones that I liked were
I still.
Mary of the Old Moor
He just cuts me off, doesn't he?
and Traveling Man.
Yeah. So I haven't gotten that far.
Those are my two. I really like that Mary of the Wild Moor one.
I haven't gotten that far. I got to Two Soldiers, which made me cry. And then you'll get the second half next week, cause. Oi!
Dude, chill out, man. He's tweaking today.
What do you think you're doing? Do you want to get high? No.
Do you have anything to say on the interview today with Salem? Did you listen to that one?
Where was I?
I think you were on the couch when I was editing it. But I might have had it quietly.
I think you were at the table
Yeah.
editing it. Yeah.
That one was a cool one for me.
He sounded like a really nice guy.
He was.
And he, I know you said that this wasn't on camera, but you kind of asked him about the divide between the people that saw Jerry and the people that didn't.
Yeah.
And he was like, I just love the drama of it. He's like, keep it fucking going.
Yeah, we talked for like 10 minutes afterwards, and he just started asking me, like, what other music do you listen to? And we started talking about, like, hardcore, like the hardcore scene out here, or like on the East Coast and the West Coast. And then he was like, so how long have you been like into the Dead and stuff? And I asked him that. I was like, what do you think about the people who haven't seen Jerry and like the people who have? And he was like, I think it's fucking funny. Everyone wants to be cool, but no one's cool.
I love that.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, he seemed like a very nice, just old head, and I'll listen through it. Don't you worry. I wish these virtual interviews, I could just poke my head in every once in a while, say hi.
Could do.
But that's all I have. It's a small episode.
We still got 12 minutes. We still did pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah. But it was an hour interview, so all in all, good episode.
All a wall.
All in all.
Good episode.
Alrighty, guys. Have a great weekend. We have Melvin Seals tonight, Thursday, and then we have Eggy on Saturday. So,
I'm ready to get jazzy.
fun shows for us this week, and who knows, maybe we'll get an interview out of two out of those guys.
I am very excited to see Eggy again.
Me too. Alright, guys. Have a great weekend, and remember, wherever you are right now is exactly where you're supposed to be.
Come along, have a drink with me. We can talk about the world and how the world it turns so slow. Day and night I found cars they drive and planes they fly. I look into the sun and the sky, you're so bright. It's you that I have found. Oh, and I know there's not much longer now. Or if the world would just slow down. The stars they sail across the sky, and I could watch you dance all through the night. When the rhythm is right, oh, and I know the sun is rising now. Or if the world would just slow down. So you move with me and I'll move with you, and I could spend the rest of my life by your side. it's you that I have found. Oh, and I know, not much longer now. Oh, if the world would just slow down. There's not much longer now. Or if the world would just slow down.